Today is August 22nd. The Bucs lose a series to the Rangers. 16 strikeouts in that last Rangers game. But Skenes Day has the ability to make you all feel better. Plus, I went to a couple AAA games. Let's hear what I saw. You're listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Yins, guys. Thank you for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast, where we talk all about them Pittsburgh Pirates and that. My name is Josh. Jake is in San Francisco. Here we go. I believe he's at Alcatraz right now, right? Isn't that what he said? I think he's in Alcatraz right now. So, still got a lot to get into. Skenes kind of makes everything feel a little bit better, doesn't he? Pirates beat the Reds tonight, 7-0. Skenes with 9 punch-outs. Lodolo as well. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Pirates and strikeouts, as that's what they did there in Dallas, Arlington, wherever. Billy McKinney had a series, had an appearance. We talked about him possibly coming up. Move my pink starburst out of the way for those of you who we're looking at my pink starburst on the YouTube. Pit City What is here. Skenes the greatest pitcher of all time. Starting it off hot. So we're going to get to cover the whole Red series on Sunday. But a very good start to it. Skenes was Skenes, as Pit City What says, the greatest pitcher of all time. So you can buy into that if you want. Hard to argue it at this point. So obviously has a ways to go. A lot of strikeouts. We're going to get into that a little bit. I've got some numbers to kind of go over as we hit some of these. But Mitch Keller was also really good in that series. And we're going to talk about Paul Skenes. We're going to talk about the handling of Paul Skenes, and that seems to be a hot topic right now across the board. Athletic had an article out. A couple other people have chimed in, and so we're gonna kind of talk a little bit about it. Also, I went to the Indianapolis Indians games on Tuesday and Wednesday afternoon. They're in Columbus right now, and so I'd like to share about a little bit of what I've seen. So we're going to go into that too. And I think it's pretty much it. 16 strikeouts. We're going to do this first because we got to come down a little bit. We're all high from the win today. That's a good thing. So let's get through this quickly because there's no point. There's no point in dwelling on bad vibes, right? This has been an issue all season. Hitting with runners in scoring position, a ton of strikeouts. We'll get into this more in the offseason as well because we'll look at the whole thing. But this is just some runners in scoring position numbers for you. Weighted runs created plus 85. That's 27th in the league. Average 228. This is with runners in scoring position. Average 228, that's 26th in the league. On-base percentage 308, that's 26th in the league. Slugging percentage is 366, that's 26th in the league. Walk percentage, 17th in the league. It says 10.2. Maybe. I might have written the wrong number down there. No, I think that's probably right. K percentage, 24.9%, which you think, well, it's not absolutely terrible, but it's 26th in the league. Home runs 32, that's 20th in the league. Sacrifice flies, I'm getting into it all, that's 8th in the league. Sacrifice hits 10, that's 8th in the league. And grounded into double plays actually is only 4th in the league, and that's 4th lowest with 20 grounded into double play, which just means that there's probably not a lot of opportunity, like not a lot of runners in scoring position that's first and second or first, second, and third. The only thing they're doing that's effective with runners in scoring position is getting out. That's the sacrifice hits and the sacrifice flies. So they're good at getting out with runners in scoring position. So that's great. That's great. Moving on. Like I said, moving on. We're setting things up here. Hayes to the IL. Back issues come to this. It seemed like it was always going to come to this. We get it. That was the move for Billy McKinney. Billy McKinney goes 2 for 4 in his first game, did not play. In his second, hit for Taylor in the 7th, finished 1 for 2. And then first game against Cincinnati, he did not play. So Mitch Keller back to his form after a couple rough outings. And he 7+ innings, 9 Ks, the lone win of the series in Texas. So a couple things there just to touch on. If there's anything to add there for those of you who are here on YouTube live right now, go ahead and chime in there, and we can add anything to that. Basically, just opening thoughts. We're just getting this thing rolling. I want to talk about going down to the games in Indy, and man, I got to tell you, I'm sitting here. I'm like hands on my head for those of you on the video, and just trying to. It's been a little bit of a rush. Played some softball tonight. The calf's feeling good for those of you who have been around. It's feeling good. First time back out since early July, so that's good. But it has been kind of a sprint a little bit, so to speak, here tonight. So we're still going to get to Paul Skenes. We're going to get to him here in a little bit. But I do want to talk about going down to Columbus to these games. So I went Tuesday, Jared Jones start, Mike Burrows on Wednesday afternoon, got to see his start, and I will be at Thomas Harrington's start Friday night, so tomorrow night.
Friday is Hawaiian shirt day.
So
if you want
maybe
to,
I'll
go ahead and,
wear my Hawaiian
wear
shirt
Hawaiian
and jeans.
shirt and jeans.
We'll see. We'll get into this. Pit City What did chime in here. Says, is Haynes solely responsible? No. Is Haynes partly responsible? Yes. Should Haynes be fired? Absolutely. That's analysis 101. It's great. That was a great job. Jared Jones was electric, guys. I believe he will be. Have they made any announcements about him? Does anybody know if they made an announcement tonight or anything about if he's coming back? That start on Tuesday made me believe his next start will be in the majors. That's what I believed when I watched him, the whole thing. I forget how many pitches he threw. Did I write it down? 73 pitches. 73 pitches, 53 strikes. And then when he was finished, he went back out of the bullpen. Baraki took over. He went back out of the bullpen and threw maybe 10 or 15 more pitches. So it seemed like he was trying to get to where he needed to be, ramping up. Painting edges, unbelievable swagger on the mound, as you would feel that Jared Jones, when he's feeling it, he looked every bit the same. Really did look good. Upper 90s consistently. Topping out at 99.5. The highlight of the night was when 3-pitch strikeout to George Valera, who's a very good hitter, by the way, on his way. That's a name that you're going to know about. 3-pitch strikeout, painting on the edge. Valera challenges. And Jones it almost took him back, and he was like kind of paying attention with just that little bit of attitude that he has. And then they challenge it. They put it up on the board. It was definitely a strike. It's not even, I almost think like almost the whole ball was in the strike zone, but it wasn't quite. I mean, it was painting. And when they announced it, he gives it a hand motion. Like he rung him up in the middle of the infield. He rung him up. And so, definitely feeling it. Very loose. Now, I tweeted about this when it happened, And a buddy of mine that was there, I mean, I saw the hand motion, and I kind of reacted to that and was like, oh, and was getting ready to, get on my phone and tweet it or whatever. And my buddy was like, that was the smoothest thing I've ever seen. And I missed it. I looked at the video. It doesn't show, but he said that once he got the ball back, he took the ball and bounced it off the infield grass, like between his legs, with his glove just kind of chilling, and bounced the ball up into his glove and reached down and picked up the rosin bag. And by the time, so they show him on the video, they show him do the ring up, they show George Valera walking back, and then they show him with the rosin bag and he tosses it down. So apparently the smoothest thing ever with the ball. He was feeling it. He was definitely feeling it. 5 innings, 1 hit, a walk, 10 strikeouts, 73 pitches, 53 strikes. Lights out, electric performance. Very glad that I made it down to that game. It was the night for rehab assignments to start. Nick Gonzalez was down there, 1 for 3 with a strikeout in the first inning. He didn't play the full game. It looks like they did the same thing tonight. He was in the lineup again tonight. But seemed to be moving well, doing pretty good. He didn't play Wednesday. So we'll see. We'll see. He did lead off the game tonight with a home run. I'll tell you, man, I needed to be out there on the I know it's softball, whatever, but we've got a big tournament coming up, so I needed to play. I am so bummed I did not make it down tonight for Bubba Chandler. I am so bummed. Gonzalez homered. Peggy hit 2 homers. It seemed like they had it going. And maybe I'll talk about that in a minute. But Holderman, Barucki, and Majinski all pitched. They all pitched again today, but they all pitched in this game Tuesday night. Barucki went an inning with 2 strikeouts, and that was it. Seemed to be good body language. I'm going to say that a few, because I think when you're watching these games, like you don't know. We did have club seats, so we were pretty much behind home, so we had a good look at a lot of the pitches. But he was feeling good. It's just an inning, but everything looked really sharp. So I don't know, man. Barucki is kind of one of those cases right now that he had gotten started one other time and then came back down. So we'll see. But so Pitt City, we're going to get to that. Holderman went an inning, gave up a hit. It was a solo homer to Manzardo, who is also a highly touted prospect. He was coming into the year. He was the number 1 first base prospect. There was 3 great first basemen drafted this year. So he did get pushed down to number 4, but he had a tank off of him. I mean, it was a tank. In Columbus, so it's a little bit of a short porch in right field, but it's a higher wall, and then there's like some standing room in like 2 sections. And then so like the roof on the road, right up in the top corner, you see 328. And so it's only 328 to there, but it's pretty high, and it bounced on the roof up there. So I think StatCast had it at like 340 something. So, or no, that couldn't have been right. It had to be more than that. I don't know. I forget. Doesn't matter. Majinski looked really good tonight. Not so much. So I'll go ahead and go over these guys. Barucki went an inning, gave up a run tonight. Holderman gave up another run tonight. He did have a strikeout, though. And Majinski gave up 3 runs in 2/3 of an inning. So Majinski, I thought, looked the best on Tuesday night. 3 runs tonight, including a blown save. But Indy ended up pulling it off. Nick Gonzalez, the home run. Peguero, 2 home runs. York, 2 doubles. Pitt City says 3 for 5. And he also asked the question, so the Pirates waiting till York reaches 400 or what? Bring the kid up. Where's he at after tonight? He's only at 326. That's going to take a while if they want him to get to 400. So, let's go ahead and get into Nick York and Billy Cook. Well, real quick, Burrows was solid. 4 innings, 5 hits, a run, a walk, 4 Ks, 64 pitches, 41 strikes. He gave up a solo homer to George Valera to dead center, which was absolutely smoked. Otherwise, everything looked good. Seems very confident, very serious when he's out there. I think this was my first time getting to see him, certainly up close. Wednesday we had, I think, like beside the dugout, but it was like second row. So we were right by the on-deck hitter. I think Burrows, though, if he's going to make it 64 pitches Wednesday, that's his season high. If he's gonna show up in Pittsburgh this year, it's probably going to be out of the bullpen. Not saying that he will, but let's get into Nick York and Billy Cook, because I think this is the one that, like, these two guys are everyone that you want to hear about. And Cheryl in the chat is asking what we think they'll do with our infield when Nicky G comes back. We'll talk about that in a minute. I mean, I think Nick York probably even plays a little bit of this too. Well, I think with Hayes out right now, I think you'll just see more Falefa at third, kiner-falefa at third. I think just to answer that shortly, I think you'll see more Nick Gonzalez at second, kiner-falefa at third, and Triolo kind of goes back to being that backup. That's what I think they'll do at the infield. Nick York had a good game Tuesday. 2 for 4, a walk, an RBI off the wall. It was absolutely smoked. It was the right field wall, so it's backside for him. And like I said, the little bit of a short wall, I think down the line it's like 318, something like that. And it goes out to 328 at that point. So it's kind of a short porch over there, but it's, like I said, it's a higher wall. Smacked it off the wall, scoring Sawinski from second. He had walked and stolen a base. It was played really well by the right fielder, who I believe was only playing in his first AAA game, Chase DeLauder. I think he's the number 2 prospect for Cleveland. But a big dude, very good arm. So Nick York was about halfway there when he threw that ball, and he shut it down and went back to first. So it was a single, but it was, smart base running because he threw an absolute C to second. He also played center field, and he made the plays. But there were a few balls that were pretty poorly read. Balls that mostly are the ones that he had to go in for. First move should always be back. So, I mean, there's not a whole lot of complaint, but he really had to get in to get to these balls. So there's a little bit there. But he handled center field. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that this is, he's played 4 games in center for Indy, and it's the first time he's played center field in his pro career. So, some time. That's fine. On Wednesday afternoon, he was 0 for 4 with a strikeout. He was playing third for the first time this season and in his career. So the Pirates are moving him around. He'd played predominantly left field and right field. Left field and second base. And Pirates have put him in right field and now center field and now third base. And I think right field for a game or 2, center field for 4 games, third base was the first time on Wednesday. I think he'd only played left field and second base coming into this season. I might be wrong on that, but I think that's it. I know he hadn't played center field or first base because that's in my notes. Or third base, because that's my notes. He was fine defensively at third. There were a couple plays that were like dribblers that he has to come in for, do the bare hand, the whole thing right there. Tough plays anyway. He didn't make any of those plays. He made the plays, but everybody was safe, so not in time. But they were tough plays. So, for your first game at third base, I don't think you can go out there and expect him to do it. But it's kind of the tale of 2 games. Like, I was really impressed with Nick York after the first game. The second game, it was kind of like, okay. I think when you see the first game is good, then you can kind of have a pass on the second game. For Billy Cook, it was the other way around. He hit 5th and played first base on Tuesday, hit leadoff and played center on Wednesday. Tuesday was 1 for 5 with a single, and the at-bats were kind of unimpressive as a whole. He had a strikeout looking in the 4th inning, and late in the game, he singled, but it was like a infield little dribbler. Like I think it went 3 feet, 50 miles an hour off the bat, something like that. But it was like weird because he tried to bunt in his first step, like his first pitch. He tried to bunt, and when he looked down at what's his name, Perez at third base, the third base coach manager. When they looked down at him, he's like, "What are you doing?" So it was almost like he did it on his own. He was just trying to bunt, and it was kind of caught them off guard. And then, oddly enough, ended up getting a swinging bunt base hit, to which they laughed about. But in the 10th, he struck out on 3 pitches. All 3 pitches were like right in the same spot, and it just looked like he was very relaxed at the plate, and it was almost to a fault. It looked like he was never prepared to swing the bat. And I couldn't help in that moment in the 10th inning with a guy on second, the Manfred runner on second. And it was York strikeout, Davis strikeout, Cook strikeout with a guy on second. And it was, a little bit of like, man, am I watching the Pirates right now? Yeah, it immediately made me think about Billy Cook. Like, man, Pirates fans are not going to like this guy. And not if he's going to just stand there and look at, literally 3. So it was a breaking ball and 2 fastballs, I think, all in basically the same spot. Clearly strikes, just was not ready to swing, just kind of going through the motions, it felt like. So that last at bat really stuck with me. But that's why you don't judge it on one day. The next day he was 1 for 2 with 2 walks and a double. And the double was hit really well. If you're on Twitter and you look out there, I did post a video, I think on Twitter, I think on Instagram, Twitter, both, posted a video of him hitting his double, right center field, in the gap, cruised into second with a double. Good piece of hitting, and he had a couple good at-bats in that game as well. Overall, he was fine, right? I can't wait to see these guys. What did Cook do tonight? Let me see if I got this. So Cook was 0 for 4 tonight with a walk and a strikeout. He scored a run after his walk. That's it. No stolen bases. So 0 for 4 tonight. Cook is now hitting .291. So, still good. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Like I said, you can't watch somebody once and go off of it. York, on the other hand, 3 for 5 tonight with 2 doubles. Which goes to Bucko Mike here saying York and Peggy. Peggy had the double and 2 homers tonight. Pit City What says, let's bring York up. York definitely looks more the part. But he definitely looks like just from the eye test alone. I really liked what I saw from him all around. But that kind of makes sense, right? He's a little bit bigger. He's younger. He was a first-round pick. 17th overall, I have on here. Cook was a 10th round pick. 287th overall. And he's like under 6 foot, kind of playing first base a lot, but he's like 5'11". The eye test makes sense when you have a guy who's a 10th round pick and a guy who's a first round pick. A lot of times the first round picks, they're first round picks because they look good. So, Cheryl asking, anyone in Indy that can take over in center? To be honest with you, I saw Nick York play it, and I saw Billy Cook play it. And to be fair to Billy Cook, there wasn't really a whole lot there for him to do, so there wasn't anything to really see out there. The best outfielder, and you guys are probably going to hate me for this, and it is what it is, and I'll say what I say. The best outfielder I saw when I was in Indy was Jack Sawinski. And not because he was just being Jack Sawinski, but he made a couple, one in left field in one day, one in right field another day, that were really, really good plays. And so I was impressed with those plays. But overall, it's kind of hard. There's not really anything. There wasn't a whole lot. I mean, Jared Jones didn't let him put the ball in play very much. So there just wasn't a whole lot for them to do, to be honest with you. If you want to look for good plays, I think the shortstops for Columbus were better than anything else that I saw. They both made some really incredible plays. What's his name? Raynel Delgado, is that right? Yeah, Raynel Delgado is just an absolute rifle. So he made a couple plays that were just absolutely like just humming it across the infield. Cheryl also asks, is Jack hitting any better? I would love to tell you he is, but he's not. Coming into that game that I saw Wednesday, he was 1 for his last 39 or something like that. Now, he hit a home run in that game. Logan Allen was pitching for Columbus. He's got a really good sweeper, or at least the hitters made him look like he had a really good sweeper, which I think he does. Every time I see Logan Allen, and I've actually seen him quite a few times down here, every time I see him, he seems to pitch well for a while, but he throws too many pitches, he walks too many guys, and he's out after 5 innings. So it's kind of his thing. But yeah, I mean, Jack is struggling worse in Indianapolis than he was in Pittsburgh. It has been very rough. Andrew Destin was there from the Post-Gazette. He did an article on Jack where basically kind of stressing that like he's really had a rough go of it. He's been working on a lot of stuff, and essentially when you're working on stuff, you're not going to have a lot of good at bats if it's not working. So I don't know. Like I said, I was paying particular attention to Jack Sawinski. If you listen to me, you know I still believe in him as a player. I still like him. I hope he does well, and I hope that he's a big part of this team next year. I mean, he led our team in home runs last year. That's not, I mean, I know it's 26 home runs and it is what it is, but like, no, his next move, Bucko Mike says, next move to Altoona. It's not to Altoona. It's silly. He just needs to figure it out, and it might not be till the offseason. I would love to see him finish well. I would love to see him finish well. But the home run that he hit, it was the sweeper. It was on the inside corner on a full count, and he had to turn on it. It's coming at him. He turned on it. Maybe some fields it's not a home run. I forget the distance on it, but it's not a home run. Not his best swing of the week that I saw. Like let me see what my notes here said. And that's a lefty. That's a home run. Is a lefty, right? He hit some hard balls. Made a really nice play. I already said that. 1 for 6 with 3 walks in the 2 games. A lot of left-handed pitchers. But he hit, I don't have it on here. He hit more than one ball over 100 miles an hour, maybe 3 or 4 of them. Some of them unlucky, some of them just kind of right at people. So you're going to have that. But there's a couple nice plays made on him as well. So not to think that I think it's getting any better. I don't think. I mean, you can look at body language. Like, he got out and you can tell that it's like, yeah, that's how it's going right now. It's not, oh man, I got robbed. I could be better if I didn't get robbed. It didn't feel that way. It just felt that it's bad. He doesn't look very confident right now. And you know, that's going to wear on you. Bucko Mike says he needs to get in touch with Rowdy's dad. Or Uncle Jake. That'd be great. So the fact of the matter is, guys, Jack Sawinski can't do that. He's not signed to a major league contract. He's on his rookie contract. He's still not even to arbitration yet. And until you sign an extension or a free agent contract, you're just not allowed to have personal hitting coaches. At least not during the season. That whole stuff with Key Brian Hayes and Nunley, like Nunley's still his private hitting coach. It's not that it like he still works with him, and to my knowledge, and that's okay. I think, well, that's okay because he's allowed. Rowdy's dad, Rowdy's high school coach, whatever it is. All of those things happen. Brian Reynolds, who else? That's pretty much it, right? I mean, Rowdy Tellez, all that stuff. I mean, those guys are on major league contracts because they've either signed an extension or they've come in as a free agent. So they're able to, have personal hitting coaches that they can work with. Maybe comes back to Pit City What's comment about Andy Haynes and all of that stuff. I mean, as a hitting coach in the major leagues, like I understand you could be good with your philosophy and your preparation and all those things, like whatever it is that they really love. But as a hitting coach in the major leagues, I feel like one of the most important things you've got to be able to do is to get guys out of a slump. And we have a lot of guys who go on extended slumps without being able to come out of it. And I just can't understand how that's not a thing. I don't want to go down a big rabbit hole with this, but to me, that's one of the things that stands out to me. And, I don't know. So either way, I like what I see from Nick York. Billy Cook looks all right. I don't know if we'll see them in Pittsburgh this year. I don't know. There's a lot that maybe the Pirates want to see before something like that happens. And maybe even not with them. They don't have to be added to the 40-man till the end of the season. Moves have to be made when they add them. So there's kind of a double-edged sword here. Do you want to see them now before? If you know you're going to add them anyway, why wouldn't you give them a cup of coffee and give them a little taste of the majors? I love that. I love that way of thinking. I also think that if there is something they're waiting to see, I can't imagine from G1 Bay what it is. Maybe Alika, maybe the defense is worth it to see it. Triolo, I think that they see him as a backup infielder, and so maybe they want just more reps. It's always going to be more reps that you're going to want to see from some of these guys because they're the guys that might be DFA'd in order to make room for guys like Billy Cook and Nick York. So I like being able to get down there. Like I said, I'm going back down there Friday. So we're going to see. We're going to see if I see him again. I imagine I will. Thomas Harrington throw in that game. Very excited to see Harrington. Super bummed I missed out on Bubba Chandler. By the way, Bubba Chandler today, 5 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, and it was a 3-run homer by Gabriel Arias, who, by the way, has played in the majors the last couple of years, was really struggling. He hits the ball hard down there. Valera, 2 home runs tonight as well. Not off of Chandler. Chandler had the 3 runs, 6 strikeouts in this game. Where's the pitches? 75 pitches, 51 strikes. So kind of working his way there. I imagine there's even a possibility that you see him this year. Maybe it's out of the bullpen just for, a little bit. What did Roanzi get that year that he had the one start? Was it like a 3-inning start or did he get a full start? I feel like he got 3 innings, but I think he started. I mean, you compare those kind of things because it's like that kind of reward for doing what you're doing. You're going to get the opportunity. It was 1 start. It was 3 innings. He gave up 3 hits, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. And that was it. Like, that's what he got. I could see something like that for Bubba Chandler as like a little reward for what he was able to accomplish this year and how he was able to move up through the ranks. So I could see something like that. I was really bummed. The last 2 weeks, and we talked about this maybe last week, the last 2 weeks, it was Chandler and Harrington on Friday and Saturday. I was really hoping they would do that again. So bummed that I missed out on that, but I'll be there for Harrington tomorrow. And now I have my Saturday free. So my Saturday free. So that's all right too. That's all right. All right, speaking of pitching, let's go into Paul Skenes. I guess it's fair to talk about his night tonight. Did I already say it? 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts. His ERA down to 2.16, and he got his 8th win against Cincinnati tonight. 5-2, I think, against Cincinnati for the season. Still have a weekend here, so hopefully we can take care of business, stay on the right side of that thing, and I think we have one more series against Cincinnati this year. For those of you who just come in, reminder, Jake's in San Francisco. I think he's at Alcatraz right now. He went to a Giants game. Matter of fact, he went to a Giants game yesterday to see... Well, I don't remember who they were playing. Who are they playing right now? He saw a good game. They're playing the White Sox. He actually saw the White Sox win a game. And I think it was Garrett Crochet on the mound versus Logan Webb, Webb went 8 innings. They still coughed it up in the end. I think they gave up, it was a 2-2 game. They gave up 4 runs in the top of the 9th and lost. So crazy game. He got to see one of the very few wins by the Chicago White Sox. He's going to an Oakland A's game on this trip. I don't know if it's tomorrow. Maybe it's tomorrow night, Friday night. He's going to an Oakland A's game. I don't know. They try to hit up him and his wife. They're trying to hit them all up. They're trying to hit all the parks up. And so pretty cool to go there and get that one in. Bucko Mike says Roanzi 3-3 with a 379, 2 saves. It's not 542. Oh, 54 and 2/3 innings pitch, 542. 51 Ks. So there's an update on Roanzi. Seems like he's doing all right. Good for him. Anyway, they try to hit up all the ballparks, so you got to get to Oakland before it's not a ballpark anymore. So they're out there. Like I said, Alcatraz tonight, pretty cool. But he sent me, he video called me. They had gotten like an Uber or a Lyft or whatever from an automated car. Like they got in, there's no driver. That car just drove them, I think, to the game. I think they were going to the game. They got in the car, no human driving. I don't know. How do you feel about that? We're going to have to ask him about it. He won't be on Sunday, but he'll be on the week after that. We're going to have to ask him about it, that experience, because I don't know how I'd feel about that. And like, I'm kind of like a techie kind of guy. You know what I mean? I'm all about it. So I don't know about that though. I don't know. Sherrod says 19 shutout innings by starting pitching, 1 run total, 27 innings the last 3 games for all pitchers. So I know that 1 run is a sore spot, but overall impressive. Yes. Yeah. I mean, they're doing well right now. Cheryl says, I don't think I could get in a car with no driver. It was wild. The steering wheel moved and everything. It was wild. I might be with you, Cheryl. I don't know. I don't know. I think it would definitely be an experience. And I would have been nervous the whole time. I would have been nervous. So Pitt City, what? That's a no for me, especially with my kid. Yeah. I feel that too. Yeah. No, that's a no for me. Bucko Mike, automated cars around here wreck into things when they tested them. Yeah, that definitely kind of, no, I'm out. I might be in. I don't know. It depends. But for now, I'm out. I'm with you guys. I'm out. All right, let's talk Paul Skenes. Let's talk about how basically the chatter is right now about him being shut down. And spoiler alert, Sherrington says they're not going to. So some of this is, it's worthy of a quick chat, but at the same time, like, I guess it could change, but you kind of already know. So the Rookie of the Year stuff, the service time and all that, he's not eligible for draft pick compensation. The only benefit to the Pirates to keep him pitching is essentially ticket sales. And I guess your relationship with the player and what you're doing, like allowing him to go out there. They stand to lose a year of control if he gets first or second in the Rookie of the Year. He gets a full year of service time. So without getting that draft pick, he does still gain that service time, which means the Pirates lose a year of Paul Skenes. he would be eligible for a free agent after the 2029 season instead of after the 2030 season. It's kind of bad for the Pirates. It's kind of bad for the fan base, if you look at it that way. However, Bucko Mike, automated cars equals Colin Holderman good under no pressure, awful every other time. He was elite for a while. He's definitely not elite right now. You could call it a tough situation. It seems like they've already made up their mind that they're not going to do this and we don't have to worry about it. Is there a right or wrong move? I don't think there is. I think that there's a benefit and a casualty to every decision, right? If you shut him down, he's going to miss out on Rookie of the Year for sure. And the service time, you could upset the player if he doesn't agree and thinks that it's about the extra year of control, which, by the way, I do have a new quote here that we'll go over. But if by chance you were thinking of extending him, maybe made it harder to make that happen if the player's not happy, right? On the other hand, if you think he's signable, maybe have that conversation. Hey, we're going to shut you down. However, we're going to offer you money and make good on it. But then you have to actually make good on it. Yeah, you have to actually make good on it. So I probably don't have to get into what an extension looks like. I don't know if that's really... I don't know if that's really even a conversation worth having right now. We'll see. I know they want to. That doesn't mean that they're going to be able to play ball with that. If you let him pitch, you miss out on the year of control. He's likely at least going to get second in the Rookie of the Year. Jackson Merrill's going to make it awful hard for him to actually win it. However, if Merrill struggles, it's maybe a possibility. So you kind of miss out on a draft pick essentially because you didn't call him up in time. So, but you don't really, because you're not getting that either way. So you're just not getting it. You're not really missing out on it. Negative reaction for Pirates fans is another thing. Even though you kind of think, well, it'd be great for Pirates fans because we get him for an extra year if we shut him down. But at the same time, you want to see him pitch and you don't want to see him do that and kind of take that year from him. So there's like I don't know. It's like a little bit of a difference. Where do you stand on that? I don't know. I don't know. You want to be good for the player, but at the same time, you're like, yeah, but I'm a Pirates fan too. I'd love to have him for an extra year. So I don't know. Either way, Ben said they're not going to shut him down. They're going to let him pitch. So it really doesn't matter. And I know that that's like a lot of the conversation. Let's take a look at the Alex Stumpf questioned Paul Skenes about this since it was a topic of conversation all over the place. I'm going to read his quote here. It's really important, speaking to how important it is for him to pitch through September, which means he wants to do it. It's really important because last year was a weird situation. For those of you watching on video, I'll just put this up there. You look at the college season, we were going from February 17th to whatever it was, the end of the college season, as long as it would have been, or as long as it could have been with the College World Series in June. And then a 2 or 3 week shutdown to ramp up again, just a weird way to do it. That's one of the big things of this season, just getting used to how long the season is, because it's super important to be used to that, to have a better plan for the offseason and all the seasons going forward. So it's not a shock to my system. If we were making the season longer incrementally, I think that's a lot worse than making the season longer one time, which, as frustrating as it was at the beginning of the season with starting in AAA and the innings limit there, I don't think, this is important, guys, I don't think we could have done it any better. So, you know, when you... Essentially, Paul Skenes, not upset about the way that it was handled, was frustrated probably early on. I think in hindsight, looks back and says, we did it well then because of what you can do now. And, you know, they're talking. The plan is he's going to pitch. So I think that's good. I think it's, and you might see some of that. You might see, what did he throw tonight? 84? He threw 87 pitches tonight. So 87 pitches tonight. I think that's it's probably pretty normal. I mean, he went 6 innings. They had a big lead. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see where he lands and see how they handle it. I bet it's going to be game to game. I think they want him to pitch. So, yeah, 87. Dude, he's special. They're going to handle this totally different than they would most guys. I was watching NS9 did theirs last night, and they talked about Jared Jones and the possibility of, like, if this was Jared Jones, how would you feel? Now, that was a fair question. Now, granted, Jared Jones was shut down for a lot this year, so he's not even back up to where he was. So he's got room to throw more too. He threw 126 innings last year. He's only at, I think, 102 right now. I think when you count his AAA innings and his major league innings. And so he's still got some time. I would think that you would want to get him up to 130, 140 this year. So I don't know. Going to be interesting to see how, obviously they could change their mind. But I think right now the plan is let him pitch. Maybe they just take him out an inning or two early in some games. Give him that extra day of rest like they've been doing. And, we can say what we want about, well, you got to take care of him. He's going to get hurt if you send him out there. But at the same time, like, these guys are a risk every time they go out there. So I don't know. You could sit here and say, well, then don't let him pitch more because it's just more risk letting him go out there more. But it's at some point you have to let these guys pitch. You can't have a 200 inning pitcher if you shut him down. You gotta have the ability to do that. Cheryl asks, are Rowdy, Taylor, and Grandal signed for beyond the season? That is a no for all three of them. That is a no. They're all three on 1-year contracts. I think we talked a little bit on Sunday about the possibility of where we would feel about signing Rowdy for another year. I'd like to see how he finishes this season. There's a possibility they could maybe go for another year of Rowdy. I don't know about Taylor or Grandal. I'm not sure. I was certainly not Grandal. I would not Grandal. But Bucko Mike says Jones needs to be on a 5-inning per game plan. I think that's actually fair. I think that would be, so long as he keeps pitching, I think he could get through the rest of the year. 5 innings, how many starts you going to have? You know what I'm saying? Maybe that gets him up. It's got to get him up over 130, 140 innings. He's got to get up there. I know that he had time on the IL, but you'd like to see him get those innings because every time you go up, right, you can go up again next year. And if you're going to be a competitive team next season, then they have to be able to get 150 innings out of these guys, out of the starters. If nothing goes wrong. So where are we at here? Yeah, we're about there, huh? We're about there. Red series underway, 7-0 win. It's a 4-game series. See if we can get there. I know we have Falter going tomorrow. I think Woodford going Saturday and Ortiz on Sunday. So they've played well against the Reds. And so they could kind of flip this thing around a little bit. The Reds have been playing well. We'll see. I don't know how many of you are from the 90s. For instance, the 80s and the 90s, who were possibly kids, possibly childhood through whatever, high school, all that was kind of the 90s for me. If you know what backyard baseball is, it is coming back. And it's in that form, the way it was in the late 90s. I'm very excited. I don't know if this means anything to any of you, but time for my dad and Uncle Jake outro, Bucko Mike says. 80s here. Yep. I was 83. I was born in 83, so a lot of the 80s, but very young through, some of them. So more of a 90s. But Skenes picked off Ellie twice now at first base. Right? Is that true? So, like I said, I was out playing. So, like, I've seen some of the stuff. I've seen a couple highlights. Did he pick him off twice? Yeah. Oh, you mean... Okay, so I saw that he picked him up. You mean he did it another time. I got you. He did it another time. Sherrod, I did talk about that earlier. Burrows looked good. He looked confident. He only went 4 innings, though. What I say, 64 pitches, which is his season high. So if he gets a cup of coffee, I believe it's probably out of the bullpen. Jim, hey Jim Rosati's in here right now. He said never liked backyard baseball. I know that I'm unique in that take. I mean, yeah, I don't know. He confirms, by the way. He thinks he picked him up. Confirms with I think he picked him off twice this year. So that's good. Just once tonight, twice this season. So we're getting it all. We're fixing it. And I know that there's a delay here. So, Bucko Mike's hitting the half century mark in a few weeks. Congratulations, man. Congratulations on that. Yeah, Jim, everybody, backyard baseball is Pablo Sanchez is just the man. We used to play. We used to never play. We used to always play. We would play like a home run derby. I don't know if it was part of the game or if we were just making it up. Dude, Triple Play 97 was legit though. So is Triple Play 97 the one that you could rename the teams and everything? I think I remember Triple Play 97 being that one. I loved Triple Play 97. That's a good game. I got to tell you though, if you're into if you're into those kind of things though, I don't know if you've tried the Metalhead. What's it called? Oh my gosh, I literally have it. It's Super Mega Baseball. Have you tried Super Mega Baseball yet? You got to let me know. And if not, and if you have, yeah, Triple Play was before MVP Baseball came around. Yeah, and it was like that's what it turned into. Yeah, I liked Triple Play a lot. And I'm pretty sure 97 was you could actually rename the teams and everything. But yeah, if you've played Super Mega Baseball, maybe we should hook up sometime and play that if you have and you like it. That's a fun game. I am not ashamed here this far into the show. I'm not ashamed to say that I've created the Pirates on there. It probably needs updated. It's been a minute, but I created some players from the Pirates. You have to be creative with their names. Like you got to call him Cruz O'Neal because O'Neal Cruz isn't on there. So you got to be a little bit creative. You should play it, Jim. You should play it. It's a fun game. All right, I should get out of here though. What console? It's like now. I think they're on like Super Mega 4. And it's PC. I think it's PC, Xbox, PlayStation, all of it. So Bases Loaded 2. Oh my gosh, shared. That is Bases Loaded 2 was one of my favorite. Like this is dating us now because when is Bases Loaded 2? Before I say this next thing, we got to go with, I got to know what the release of this was because this was an old one. 1988. So we're talking young, right? Released in 1988. Well, is that when it was released here? 1990. 1990 it was released. Bases Loaded, the first one, and Bases Loaded 2. Now, Bases Loaded 2, we played a lot more. Like I said, 83 to 88, so like, or 83 to 90, so like 7 years old, whatever. Dude, we used to play Bases Loaded 2, and Jake and I would do this because you could only play one player at a time, but we both wanted to play. So in order to both play, we would alternate games. Well, if you wanted to play a season, you could only play one at a time. Let me correct that. So we would play our seasons and literally would sit there and occasionally, if this was like a Saturday morning, we would keep book for whoever was, like if I wasn't playing, I would keep book for Jake's game. You know, you're 7 years old. He's like, I don't know. I guess that doesn't seem right. We had to be a little bit older than that because Jake wouldn't have been able to keep book at that age. He was born in 86. He would have been 4 years old that's when it came out. So maybe a little bit after that, when he was able to. Yeah, we were keeping book. Oh, Sherrod played with Philly. That was Jake's team. Webb with the funky stance, 100%. The outfield was huge, Jim. It was absolutely huge. Man, I loved that game. RBI baseball was great too, but we were bases loaded. We were bases loaded players. But we learned how to keep book early. My favorite team was Kansas. YU with the stance. He 40 homer guy. He just had absolute bombs. Absolute bombs. They had a pitcher, and I can't remember the name now, but they had a pitcher who Hawaii was great. Bucko Mike says Hawaii was awesome. They had a pitcher who, when he went through his windup, he would stick his arm out like I'm trying to think, like Terry Mulholland. He used to straighten the arm out back. He was such a good pitcher. That's why I liked Kansas, because of that. Big Hurt Baseball was good, but that was Super Nintendo or no? That was I can't remember. I don't think we played that. We were Sega, so we got into World Series 95. After Bases Loaded 2 and kind of RBI that, we got into World Series 95. I loved World Series 95 too. The Ken Griffey Jr. game I know was on Super Nintendo as well. So we didn't have a Super Nintendo. But World Series 95 on Sega was awesome. That's fun. So I don't play the show. I don't like the show. I played it for a long time, and I kind of got disinterested when it was kind of a money grab at some point, and I felt like I was an offline franchise kind of guy. I haven't ported over to, I know, Jim, I know you like to play, what's it called? Where you don't actually play the games, you do the back end stuff. I know there's a delay here, so I gotta. We got a delay. You gotta come in and tell me what you play. The management one. Yeah, MLB The Show is one of those games. Yeah, Out of the Park. Thank you. Out of the Park baseball. I haven't gotten into that yet, but that's the way that I did. That's the way that I did MLB The Show. I did offline franchise, and I would simulate so many. I probably played 15 games of the season, and the rest of them would be simulated. But that was back then. Starting lineup, talking baseball. What are you saying, Bucko Mike? Back then, you played the same game for years and not get bored. 100%. So, Jim, I got one version of Out of the Park, and I don't remember which one it was. But I pay attention to your streams every once in a while because I'd like to like it, and so I pay attention. I'm trying to get my head wrapped around it a little bit. I've seen some of it. I've also watched. Foolish Baseball play it too. Foolish Bailey. So yeah, all right. We probably got to get out of here. Thanks for hanging out here for a little bit. I'm probably going to cut this end piece out of the audio version of it, but we'll see. That was the game. Oh, you're saying that was the other game. Okay. Starting lineup, talking baseball. You know, we had one game on the computer that was like Tony La Russa baseball. Tony La Russa baseball was. Let's see if I can pull that up. Oh, man, the cover, it didn't look anything like the cover. I want to actually see the game. But we used to play Tony La Russa. That was a fun game. Yeah. They had a lot of management stuff in Tony La Russa that was kind of ahead of its time a little bit. But I remember Tony La Russa baseball, EA Sports even. Well, maybe they bought it out or maybe it was EA Sports. I didn't remember that. Yeah, I remember playing Tony La Russa. That was a fun game. All right. We're going to close this thing out. Thanks for hanging out. Hey, Paul Skenes just makes you feel a little bit better, doesn't he? This could have been a dark episode, I think. It could have been. But no, we're feeling pretty good. Backyard baseball's coming back. We'll see how good it is. Jim, you're going to keep me on here forever. High Heat baseball is another one in the early 2000s. That was good too. A lot of good games. Right now I'm Super Mega Baseball, man. That's my baseball game of choice. I play it every once in a while. It's more of a chill game. Higher scoring games, but real arcadey kind of stuff. You can hit some bombs on there. It's a pretty fun game. It's a little more relaxed. I think. I mean, it's fun, but like, I don't feel like I need to be diving in. I can grab the controller. I played on the PC, but I still play with the controller because I'm, a console kid for a long time. So, but it's a good time. I like that game. The rest of the Reds series. Hey, Sunday, I have a good friend of mine coming on. He's a Reds fan, but I think you guys will like him. Don't hold that against him. He's an awesome dude. I think you guys will like him. But he's going to come on at the end of the Reds series. And so we're going to do something a little fun. I think we did this last year. I don't remember if it was like middle of the season or whatever, with another buddy of mine who grew up near Philly, was a Phillies fan. And so we kind of talked after one of those series. So we're going to do something similar to that. I'll have my table set up back here and we'll be, I'll see what kind of setup I can have here, but that'll be a fun talk. I know, Reds fan, yuck, but he's a good dude. I promise you. So it'll be interesting. He's a pretty level-headed guy. Matter of fact, he's a big baseball card guy and got me this Henry Davis card last year. Man, it's not aging well yet. However, he did give me that Reds card or that Henry Davis card. So he's a good dude. All right, guys. Let's get out of here. Good talk. Thanks for hanging out with me, and we'll see you again on Sunday. Let's go Bucks.
Thanks for listening to my dad and Uncle Jake on the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Bridge2Buctober. Don't forget to subscribe so you know when new episodes are released. Clear the deck, cannonball coming, and let's go Bucks.